So very good afternoon to all of you. I think I will use this one. My apologies for being a little late for this session. I just speak a little bit about the main topic, and then probably we can have the other panelists and discussion from the floor. So in terms of rural connectivity, as we all know, it's a major challenge in India still, even when we are 12 years in the 21st century. Broadband access is still very limited in rural areas, and as a consequence, delivery of electronic services is a major challenge, especially in the rural hinterland in our country. Even for the government-sponsored CSC project, that is Common Service Center Network, of which currently we have over 98,000 in operation in the country today, it faces a major challenge due to lack of robust connectivity. However, now efforts are being made to address this critical gap in our IT infrastructure in terms of the latest project for providing broadband connectivity in all the village panchayats through the National Optical Fiber Network. So hopefully this will address this critical issue in the coming 2 or 3 years. In regard to financial inclusion, this is extremely vital to sustain the economic growth and ensure that the hitherto unbanked population comes within the fold of the development process in the country. As of now, around 40% of the population has no access to financial services, and in rural areas, only around 20% have access to the formal banking system. So financial inclusion continues to be a major challenge for the country, especially for the people in rural areas. In the last 3 years, over 30 million no-frills accounts have been opened, mostly under the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. ICT, especially the mobile technologies, can be used for facilitating this process of financial inclusion. It can reduce the cost drastically and make the low-value transactions viable. It can also enable real-time transactions and dramatically expand access point. This is the key to the entire process. Without the use of mobile in the current scenario, it looks very difficult to ensure access to the huge population, especially in rural areas. And mobile technology can also help in bridging the last mile gap. At present, the CSC network is limited and people have access to very few numbers of computers, especially with internet in the rural areas. And mobile technology can also help in displacing cash as the prime method of transactions. It can also be used for remote authentication of users using UID or electronic signatures. It can be used for increasing transparency in transactions, especially for providing government services, thereby reducing corruption and rent-seeking opportunities. It can also address the information asymmetries at the bottom of pyramid and help in reducing the demand-side barriers for driving financial inclusion. However, the ICTs, especially the mobile technologies, they also pose challenges for regulators due to concerns like security, privacy, and money laundering. The policy framework, briefly, we have the inter-ministerial group recommendations on financial inclusion, and we have the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, the main regulator for this sector. Recently, the norms for appointment of the banking correspondents have been relaxed, and now companies can act as BCs and CSCs can become BCs. And in many cases, they have actually started functioning as banking correspondents. Also, the KYC norms have been simplified, and now the transaction limits have been enhanced for mobile payments. However, basically, it has been a bank-led model. There is very little diversification of providers. This schematic shows in brief the current policy framework for financial inclusion. On the one hand, we have the BC model, then we have mobile banking interface, and then the KYC norm for identification. and concerns on consumer protection. This shows the mobile growth phenomena in India. At present, the penetration has exceeded 80% in urban areas. In fact, it's now more than 100%. And in rural areas, it is now inching towards the 40% mark. This shows the impact of ICTs on economic growth. So for every 10% increase in mobile penetration, the growth in GDP is approximately about 0.8%. This is the statistical correlation between growth and ICT penetration. For the mobile devices for payments, the rationale for this arises due to the much higher penetration of mobile devices compared to computers and internet, and low cost of handsets and low tariffs in the country. They make it ideally suitable for rural consumers, for rural markets. And we have used mobile devices, mobile phones for providing e-governance, e-commerce, and financial services in many countries. And the CSC network and BC network can exploit the mobile technologies for financial inclusion. Especially, they are now being used for NREGA and for old age pensions. And the upcoming expansion in 3G network, it provides a huge opportunity for innovations in applications for both the governance space as well as for financial inclusion using mobile devices. However, there are some issues and challenges that we need to address. First is the issue of lack of robust connectivity for rural areas. Then applications for G2C, B2C, etc. in local languages. So localization is a key challenge for taking this process further. Then we need to define standards for mobile applications. At present, mobile applications are very fragmented due to the differences in the underlying operating systems and the devices themselves. Then seamless integration with the back-end ICT infra, that remains a major challenge for expanding the access to services through mobile devices. And then, of course, the multiplicity of telecom operators. That's an issue for providing services to the users seamlessly. And for government public agencies developing appropriate business models, that remains a challenge. Then another issue is how to scale up these services on the mobile platform and how to devise a framework to select these services on mobile, as not all services can be delivered through mobile phones. Then appropriate technologies, security, privacy concerns, and then the limitations of handsets themselves. Then even now, even though the mobile penetration has improved over the last decade in our country, especially the last 3-4 years, still we continue to have huge regional disparities in mobile penetration. So how to address this gap? And another important point about user education and awareness, this needs to be taken up in right earnest to ensure that all the users, especially the rural population, is aware of the possibilities of these technologies, and they can actually use the applications for both governance and for financial inclusion. So thank you. We can have discussion after the panelists they speak. Thank you.